Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my mid-year book tag, which I saw go around last year, and then I've just seen Sarah Corley posted her one for this year, so I thought I would film this now. I'm not sure when this will go up, maybe a bit more in the July time, but yeah, I thought I'd film this now. I'm using the same prompts from Sarah Corley's video, but there's definitely loads more mid-year book tags out there with the same prompts. So yeah, I thought this would be a really fun video to kind of go over some of the books that I've read so far this year. I have read 36 books this year, and I believe I might be like 1 or 2 books behind schedule. This year I wanted to read 76 books, but I really don't think that's going to happen just because I made that goal when I was only working part-time. So I don't think I will reach 76, but honestly I'm pretty happy with 36. I feel like that's a decent number considering I've had a pretty busy year so far. And yeah, I just feel like this would be a good way to wrap up how I'm feeling about the books that I have read, and maybe some books that I might want to read for the second half of the year. And then obviously at the end of the year, I'll do like a complete wrap up of the year, but it probably won't be another book tag. So this will probably be the only book tag of the year. So the first prompt is best book of 2025. And this one was honestly kind of hard for me because I wanted to choose a different book, but that book had to go under another prompt. And then I also still wanted to mention this book. So I did choose The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I did love this book. It was obviously a 5 star. It's one of my favourite books of the year. It's the best book of the year so far. This is a romance book. I feel like everyone knows about this book. So if you haven't read it yet and you love romance, highly recommend. It basically follows Clementine, and she is living in her late aunt's apartment, and then the male main character, Ewan or Ewan, I don't know exactly how to say his name, is kind of like in the apartment sometimes. And he's a love interest. So I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away, but it is a really good book. It's a little bit magical realism. But yeah, I love this one. Then the next prompt is best sequel, and this one was honestly really easy for me. I really enjoyed this book, and I did choose it over a couple of others, like Us Against You was another one I was considering for this. I chose this one because I didn't love When in Rome, the first book, but this one I really loved. I gave it 4.25, and it's obviously Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is another romance book, and it follows Annie and Will. Annie is a florist, and she is the male main character in When in Rome's little sister, and Will is the bodyguard of the female main character in When in Rome. So they have like a little, I guess, kind of forbidden romance, but it's not really forbidden. I guess that's kind of a bad way of putting it. But Annie basically asks Will to like teach her how to be in a relationship, and that's kind of where the story goes. So yeah, I really love this one, as I said, and I feel like it deserves best sequel because it really made me love the series a bit more. So then moving on from that very swiftly, the next prompt is a new release that I haven't read yet and I want to get to, which is Beg, Borrow or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is the third book in the Run and Rome series, and honestly it's just very high on my radar at the moment because in Practice Makes Perfect you kind of get glimpses of this, and yeah, I honestly just really want to read it. The next prompt is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and for this one I definitely have to go with Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This one comes out on, I believe, September 2nd, maybe. It might be different in different countries. But this is the last book in the Powerless series, and if you know me, I loved Powerless and like the whole series, but I really loved Powerless. And from what I've seen, this novella is going to be quite interesting in terms of Kit's perspective and like maybe what we're going to think of Kit after reading it. And I'm intrigued by that just because of how Fearless went. And obviously, I do love the series. So yeah, Fearful is my most anticipated one. The next prompt is my biggest surprise of the year, and I definitely need to go with I Who Have Never Known Men for this one. This book is like a sci-fi kind of literary fiction book. It involves a group of women that have been in a bunker basically, and they don't really have anything to do. They're just fed a couple times a day. They don't know what time it is, that sort of thing, and the story goes from there. And honestly, I didn't think it would necessarily be a book that I'd like or enjoy, but I ended up really liking it. It's also structured in a way where I think there's like 2 chapters, which I'm normally a big hater of, but it makes sense in this book and I did enjoy it. So that's why it's my biggest surprise. The next prompt is my favourite author that's new to me, I believe, was the prompt. And I've chosen Jessica Joyce because I read The X-Files. This was another one of my 5-star books of the year. I just loved it, and this book really reminded me of Emily Henry, and Emily Henry is my favourite author. So if another author is going to remind me of her, they're definitely a new favourite for me. Then the next prompt is newest fictional crush. For this one, I have chosen Dorian from Throne of Glass. This one was kind of hard because I'm not really someone that like crushes on characters. I do find the male characters in fantasy a bit more like crushable, I guess. I've never really felt like I have a crush on a romance male character, if that makes sense. So I chose Dorian because I don't really know what to say because I can't spoil anything, but he's just a very likeable character, and he has a lot to learn about himself and where his world and his storyline is going to go. And yeah, he's also just described as gorgeous. Like, he's got dark hair, blue eyes, I'm pretty sure. He's just like a handsome guy. So yeah, Dorian is my new fictional crush. Then the next prompt is book that made me cry, and this was the book I was actually going to choose for my best book of 2025, but I'm not a big crier, so if any book has made me cry, I obviously need to put it in this prompt. And one book that did almost make me cry was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This was another 5-star book for me. Obviously, it was a contender for my best book so far. I loved it. It was very emotional, and I chose to read this one first. So for it to have hit me so hard in the emotional level when I'm not particularly an emotional person is really saying something about the story and how well written it was. And yeah, I don't remember if I cried, but I definitely like had tears in my eyes. I'm pretty sure the like most sad part of this book I read in a room with my mum, and I was like, I can't cry right now. So I forced myself not to, but I definitely would have had I been by myself. And then on that note, a book that made me happy, I've chosen The X-Files again. Just as I said, it really reminded me of Emily Henry's writing, and I love Emily Henry books. Also, this is a childhood friends to lovers second chance, and if you've watched the vlog from this one, which was my 24-hour vlog, you kind of hear me say, but this book really reignited my love for that trope, and like that specific trope is my favourite trope, so it obviously made me happy. And yeah, there wasn't really like, I mean, there was emotional parts of this book, which is part of why I loved it so much, but it wasn't like a sad book. It was a happy book, and I like that. Then the next prompt is the most beautiful book I've bought myself or someone else has bought me, and I had to choose Fearless for this one because obviously these covers are gorgeous. I feel like everyone can agree. I particularly love this hardcover because it's kind of got that like metallic pink, but the most beautiful part I'll show you now. So this is the like book actual cover, if that makes sense, and then the inside is also really pretty. So yeah, it's like a little pink map. I just love it. I don't really see the correlation with pink for this book, but yeah, it's honestly just such a pretty book, so I had to choose this one. Then the next prompt is a book I enjoyed with mixed reviews. For this one, I'm going to choose Mile High. I haven't got a physical copy of this one, but I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I feel like this one is definitely mixed reviews in the sense that a lot of people don't like it, and then some people do like really enjoy it. And I feel like I did really enjoy it. I do understand why so many people didn't like it, but I feel like a lot of the people out there that are saying that they didn't like it have read the other ones. So they're kind of comparing it, if that makes sense. Whereas for me at this point, I haven't read the other ones, and I know that I probably will love the other books in this series more, but for now, I really enjoyed Mile High. So don't listen too much to everyone saying that it's a really bad book. Then the next prompt, which is a really fun prompt and one that I probably wouldn't have included any other year, but this year I have been thinking about it, and it's books that I want to reread. I'm actually thinking of doing a video for this, so the books I'm going to show you might turn up in that video. We'll see. But yeah, these are the books. Firstly, I have Book Lovers and Beach Read by Emily Henry. These were the two I think I read first, and obviously Book Lovers is my favourite romance. I love that book so much, so I feel like that one's maybe a bit higher on the priority than Beach Read. But Beach Read I did read first, and I read it quite a while ago now, like a few years, I think maybe even 4 years ago at this point. So I feel like I need to reread it to kind of know how I feel about it, especially in my like Emily Henry ranking. So yeah, these are two books I really do want to reread. Then I also have The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. My recent vlog where I read romance for a week, I kind of mentioned that reading the rule book has kind of ignited my want to reread this because I gave it 5 stars initially and I did really love it at the time. I don't know if I'd still rate it 5 stars, but I think I will still love it. And then the other one is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This was another 5-star read. This was actually like my first proper book, I'm pretty sure, that I read after a long while of not reading, and I loved it. And I know I'm still gonna love it. It's still one of my favorite books, but I just want to like reignite my memory of this book, I guess. So I feel like this one's quite high on the contender list. So the next prompt is how many 5 stars I've got so far this year, and I have 3, which I feel like it's not great, but I also don't think it's a terrible amount. I would have been more concerned if there was 1 or 2, and I am quite a harsh rater as well. But they're all 3 books that I've already spoken about. It's The X-Files, The Assassin's Blade, and The 7-Year Slip. All 5 stars. Loved them all. Kind of similar vibes with 7-Year Slip and The X-Files, and just like I just loved the romance and they were very well written. And then obviously I've already spoken about Assassin's Blade. But yeah, those are my 3 5 stars so far. And then the final prompt is books that I want to read for the rest of the year and my 5-star predictions. These are the books that I would like to read. I'll kind of go through them quickly. So the first one is A Tempest of Tea. This one I really wanted to read last autumn and I just never got round to it. It's a relatively short kind of like fantasy dystopian book, I'm pretty sure. It's about like vampires and stuff. So this one's very high on my autumn TBR for this year. Then Love and Other Words is one that I feel like I've spoken a lot about recently. This one is constantly high on my TBR. I'm just very scared to read it because I know that I will love it and I know that it might make me cry. So I've been putting it off. I do really want to read it this year though, because if I put it off another summer, I feel like that would be ridiculous. Then I have How to End a Love Story. This is one I bought quite recently, but it's very high on my TBR because I just feel like I'm gonna love it. I have really positive thoughts about this book, and it's probably going to be one I read this summer, so look out for that one. And the same with Same Time Next Summer. This is another one that I definitely will be reading this summer just because I love Annabelle Monaghan and her writing. But yeah, I just feel like this is going to be like a really perfect summer romance, so you will be seeing this one. Then I have One Dark Window. This one has been making the rounds for maybe even 2 years at this point. I'm not too sure when it came out, but I feel like it's past its hype point. But I know that I want to read it. Every time people talk about it, I know I want to read it, but I need to read it in like winter, autumn time, I feel like. Maybe this could be a winter book, so maybe it'll be like an end of November, December book rather than a September, October book. But yeah, I just do really need to read this, and I love the cover of this one as well. And then my final book is Daydream by Hannah Grace. This is one that I feel like I've been putting this one off a bit as well, but it's one that I really just want to tick off so that I know that I've finished the series, or at least what's out of the series so far, because I have really enjoyed them, but I feel like part of me feels like I might have outgrown the series, which is a bit sad. But I do really want to read this year because if I don't, I'm not sure if I ever will. And out of those books, the 3 that I would predict 5 stars are these 3, just because I feel like One Dark Window is just very me in a fantasy book. So I feel like I'll like this. It's quite like gothic, and I do like that kind of read, waffling on about Annabelle Monaghan, but I just have good feelings about this one. I feel like it's going to be a perfect summer book, and I wouldn't be surprised if I rate it 5 stars. And Love and Other Words, as I said, I think I will love this one. It just terrifies me. So I'm predicting 5 stars for it, but I'm so scared of it. So that was my mid-year book tag. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you maybe got some recommendations out of this one. And yeah, hopefully you'll see some of these books that I kind of talked about towards the end of the video in upcoming videos over the summer and maybe even the rest of the year. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.